Hello everyone, this is Mike History 2, and today I'll be talking about the Acre War. So Acre War was a border conflict between Bolivia and Brazil over the Acre region, which was rich in rubber and gold deposits. The conflict had two phases between 1899 and 1903 and ended with an Acrean victory and the subsequent Treaty of Petropolis, which gave Acre to Brazil. The outcome also affected territories disputed with Peru. Now the region of Acre had rich gold deposits and a lot of timber, especially rubber trees. From the end of the 19th century till the middle of the 20th century, rubber trees were crucial to the automobile and transport industry, as synthetic rubber for the manufacture of tires and other objects was not discovered until around World War II. It is because of this that the war is also referred to as the Rubber War. The border between Brazil and Bolivia had before been delimited by the Treaty of Ayacucho. The province of Acre, which is a territory about 5 times the size of Belgium, belonged to Bolivia. Embedded in the heart of South America, Acre aroused little interest for its inaccessibility and apparent lack of commercial value, and its population was composed of a small amount of Native Americans without national identity and a handful of Brazilians and Bolivians. When the price of rubber rose significantly in the late 19th century, around 18,000 adventurers and settlers, most from Brazil, went to Acre to exploit the rubber trees. There were practically no roads, so the main means of transport were some river steamers, canoes, and rafts. On January 2nd, 1899, Bolivia set up a customs office in Puerto Alonso, today Porto Acre, which upset the Brazilian settlers, who wanted to remove the Bolivian authorities. A lawyer, Dr. José de Carvalho, led a revolt against the Bolivians on the 30th of April. Pressured by José de Carvalho, Bolivians were forced to leave the region. To prevent the return, the governor of Amazonas, José Cardoso Ramalho Jr., organized a team to enter Acre, commanded by Spaniard Luis Galvez Rodriguez de Arias, who served as a Bolivian consul in Belém. Galvez left Manaus on the 4th of June, 1899, and came to the Bolivian town of Puerto Alonso, which had its name changed to Porto Acre, and there he proclaimed the Republic of Acre on the 14th of July, 1899, imposing his authority on the lands that the Treaty of Ayacucho had given to Bolivia. Bolivia responded by sending a force of 500 men. Before his arrival, Galvez was taken prisoner by Antonio de Sousa Braga, who declared himself president of Acre. Shortly afterwards, however, he returned power to Galvez. On the 15th of March 1900, a Brazilian war flotilla reached Puerto Alonso, arrested Galvez, and dissolved the Republic of Acre, as the Brazilian government, based on the Treaty of Ayacucho, considered Acre as Bolivian territory. A further reason for Ramalho Jr.'s interest in Acre's occupation was that Galvez had discovered the existence of a diplomatic agreement between Bolivia and the United States, stating that there would be military support for Bolivia in the event of war with Brazil. Now, at that time, Bolivia organized a small military mission to occupy the region, and arriving in Porto Acre, it was prevented from continuing its movement by Brazilian rubber tappers. In November 1900, there was another rebellion in order to take Acre from Bolivia and create an independent republic. Known as the Expedition of Poets, this force, under the command of journalist Orlando Correa Lopez, was based on the river monitor do Vapor Solimões, equipped with the help of the governor of Amazonas province, Silverio José Neri. The Solimões operated on the Rio Purus and seized the vessel Alonso, which was renamed Rui Barbosa. Carvalho Rodrigo became president of the newly declared Republic of Acre, whose forces had a light cannon, a machine gun, and about 200 men. Around Christmas 1900, this force attacked Puerto Alonso and was defeated by the Bolivian military, resulting in the loss of a dozen men and the machine gun, eventually leading to the conquest of the Republic. The 29th of December, the Bolivian vessel Rio Afua strengthened the garrison of Puerto Alonso. Now, although Bolivia denied the agreement with the United States previously mentioned, on the 11th of June 1901, Bolivia signed a lease with a Bolivian trade company based in Jersey City, New Jersey. The company had some very influential shareholders, including the King of Belgium and relatives of William McKinley, who was then the President of the United States. Bolivia had given the company almost total control over the Acre province to protect its sovereignty. Under the agreement, the group of American and British capitalists would assume total control over the region, occupying and exploiting it for 30 years. At that time, Bolivia was ruled by General José Manuel Pando. The number of Brazilians in the region grew, searching for forest wealth mainly in the northeast. Now, Brazil and Peru, which also claimed Territory strongly disapproved of the Lease Act. Brazil withdrew the consul of Puerto Alonso and closed the tributaries of the Amazon River to trade with Bolivia. The international powers, who considered the basin as international waters, protested, leading Brazil to reduce the ban on war materials and release the Bolivian goods addressed to foreign nations. Now 26 years old, having fought in the Federalist Rio Grandense Revolution, the gaucho José Plácido de Castro came to the Amazon. In 1902, rubber tappers made a deal with Castro. The military believed that it could profit from the border struggle, offered Castro to train and command 2,000 tappers to fight the Bolivians. At 5 o'clock in the morning of the 6th of August 1902, Castro led 33 riflemen in canoes on the Acre River. Castro quietly entered a wooden house on the city of Chapuri, in which the Bolivian quartermaster depot was based. Soon Castro took possession of the site and imprisoned the Bolivian military personnel. The local people mistook the group as a part of the celebrations of the Bolivian Independence Day. Now, on the 18th of September, a Bolivian battalion of 180 men, led by Colonel Rosendo Rojas, surprised the forces of Castro, which now had around 70 men. The Brazilians, armed with Winchester rifles, low on ammunition, and suffering from tropical diseases and desertions, lost 20 men and were defeated. Castro then recruited another force with about 1,000 men. Part of that force besieged the city of Puerto Alonso on the 19th of May, 1902. On the 14th of October, the force captured some external fortifications and captured the Rio Afua, which wrecked on the island during the fighting. The river vessel, renamed Independence, was used against its former owners. Despite the setback, the Bolivians kept Puerto Alonso. Elsewhere, the Brazilian adventurers besieged the company, which surrendered on the 15th of October. Other battles, almost all won by the forces of Plácido, took place in Bom Destino, Santa Rosa, and other coastal cities. On the 15th of January 1903, the Brazilian force attacked and captured some positions out of Puerto Alonso. The Independence, anchored upriver, was charged with 30 tons of high-quality rubber and focused on the passage by the Bolivian batteries to bring the river rubber down. The Plácido forces used the money to buy weapons and ammunition. On the 24th of January, the Bolivians in Puerto Alonso surrendered to the rebels, who had taken the entire region. 3 days later, on the 27th of January, the Third Republic of Acre was proclaimed, now with the support of President Rodriguez Alves and his foreign minister, the Baron of Rio Branco, who ordered the Acre occupation and established a military government under the command of General Olimpio da Silveira. The besieging force advanced toward the place where the rivers Chipamanu and Tahuamanu meet to form the Rio Orton. Soon a Bolivian force under the command of General José Manuel Pando, the Bolivian president, took the opposite bank. However, before it did any significant combat, as a result of the excellent work of diplomacy by the Baron of Rio Branco, the governments of Brazil and Bolivia signed a preliminary treaty on the 21st of March 1903, finally ratifying the Treaty of Petropolis on the 11th of November 1903. Now, this treaty stated that Bolivia would give up Acre in exchange for Brazilian territory from the state of Mato Grosso, the payment of £2 million, and the promise to construct the Madeira-Mamoré Railroad, linking the Mamoré River and the Madeira River, in order to allow the flow of regional production, particularly rubble. Joaquim Francisco de Assis Brasil actively participated in the negotiations with Bolivia, representing the Brazilian government in its signature. The Bolivian syndicate was compensated with £110,000. The taxes collected from Brazilian Acre financed the damages and the loan for the construction of the railway over a course of 30 years. The first of Plácido Castro's decree took place on the 26th of January 1903, applying Brazilian law until the enactment of a state constitution. Considered valid all land titles issued by Bolivia or the state of Amazonas, defined the Portuguese language as official and adopted the Brazilian monetary standard. The Treaty of Petropolis, signed in 1903 by the Baron of Rio Branco and Assis Brasil, was approved by Brazilian federal law on the 25th of February 1904 and regulated by a presidential decree on the 7th of April 1904, officially annexing Acre into Brazil. Plácido de Castro, who died on the 11th of August 1908, was the first president of the Acre territory. Castro, the Baron of Rio Branco and Assis Brasil, became namesakes of the state capital, Rio Branco, and two counties, Assis Brasil and Plácido de Castro. The Acre War demonstrated Brazil's advantage over its neighbors because of its downstream location in relations to the rivers that run almost across all of South America, being born in the Andes and flowing into the Atlantic Ocean. Brazil could send reinforcements to the disputed areas by the rivers, while the Bolivians had to cross the Andes. Alright, anyways, that's all I have to say about this war. Hope you learned something new. Definitely I did. I knew almost nothing about this war. So, of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you next time.